Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, we're going to be talking about obesity. Are you destined to be overweight because you're big bones, or is that just fiction? Let's get into it today.
We're missing a piece of the puzzle. You start getting healthy and you just become a better person. We need to start focusing more on the individual.
Okay, so today I wanted to talk about big-boned people, or the idea that there are people who are just born with bigger bones than other people, thus obviously making them bigger than normal sized people. Okay. And this is something that when I was young, I would hear all the time from, people who are overweight. Now, it started off from what I can remember as a joke. It's just like an excuse that I'm big because I'm big boned, right? And it was just like we just made a joke of it. It was no big deal. I don't think at the time anybody took it seriously, but over the years, people really started to question, no, is that a real thing? Like, can you actually be big boned and it caused you to be heavier set? And the reason why this is so important to really understand is because those of us who have a lot of difficulty losing weight, if our bone structure causes us to retain more weight for one reason or the other, then that's something we need to understand so that we aren't spinning our wheels trying to lose weight that's literally impossible for us to lose. So I decided to really look into this a little bit today. Now, I'll be honest and say that from my own personal experience and knowledge, I always thought that the idea that someone having big bones was just fictional. Okay, we all have a traditional kind of skeletal size based on our height and other factors, and that is what it is. Upon doing a little bit of research, it turns out that there is some new science that points us in the direction of being able to use the femur as a way to determine how heavy a person was. So if you're looking at the science and the research, modern science and research, it can be kind of confusing because it looks as if, yes, you can determine someone's weight based on their bone structure, or at least a particular part of the bone structure. But the question still remains, does that then correlate to you being obese, right? And I think that for clarity's sake, we have to look at this thing logically. There's two kind of points of views. You could say that the femur is wider and it manufactures a body that's a little bit heavier, or you could say because someone has gained so much weight over the time that the body has then adjusted for it. Now, I understand that traditionally speaking, we don't think of the body really being able to make those type of adaptations later on in life, especially, after we're adults. But I have found that in my research and my personal experience, that the body is so dynamic in its functionality, we really don't understand it very well. And I've seen the body do some really amazing and wild things. For example, the individual can literally shape shift, right? Their face can move up, down. It can change. It can widen. It can narrow. The eyes the eyes can kind of move. The jaw can move and do different things over time. There's a lot of factors that affect how your face looks and things of that nature. And I think back to the old folks used to say, when you get around somebody too long, you start looking like them. And I think that with the new, research and science and things like that, you can actually see where the body can actually do some form of shape shifting. But we see it all the time where we're like, man, this person that I knew from 10 years ago looks really different, whether it's for the good or for the bad. but we can see where the body can do some really amazing things with how we look and how people perceive us. I think a lot of times we think that that's in our mind, and it's really not, because there's not a lot of hard science that really shows us these things. But as I kind of piece things together throughout the life of my research and things like that, I can see where this is possible. So here's my thing. In my personal experience, working with, so many people who are overweight and have dealt with obesity, I have yet to find an individual who has not been able to bring their weight under control utilizing the methods that I talk about on this channel. So that leads me to believe it's not that the femur is longer and therefore builds a heftier body, and thus the kind of idea that you're big boned, but the latter, where you actually are just gaining a lot of weight and the body adjusts to support that weight. And I believe that the body will also be able to adjust back down, because I've seen it happen so many times. My brother Steven is a great example of this, because he was just a huge guy. I mean, he carried his weight well, as people would put it, because he's taller, probably about 6'3" or something like that. But being nearly 400 pounds is 400 pounds, y'all. So being able to take someone who is almost 400 pounds, I think he started off at 375, and bring him down to, I want to say he got down to like 220, maybe 215. I can't really remember where his lowest was. But to be able to lose that amount of weight and really see my brother slim up, it leads me to believe and understand that there's really no such thing as being big boned. Well, what does that mean, Chris? It means that you're not predestined. There's no, supernatural tendencies to be overweight or obese or big boned. So yes, you can lose the weight. Okay. That is what I have seen. And that is what I genuinely believe. I think that this whole idea of being big boned really started off as a joke, and it just kind of has turned into this false reality. And of course, keep in mind, y'all, we can always use science to prove anything. Okay. It's very common that people come up with theories and then use science to kind of support their theory. So understanding that science is not fact. It's not, well, I shouldn't say it's not fact. It's not necessarily truth. Science is not necessarily truth. Okay. And what I have found to be true is that no matter how big you are, even Justin, me and Justin did a live a few weeks ago. If you guys haven't seen it, you should definitely check that out. But Justin lost 200 pounds utilizing dietary changes. He went vegan and also fasting, and he was able to do it. So if you're questioning whether or not you could lose the weight, I don't have any doubt in my mind. If you feel like you've tried everything and you don't know what else to do, obviously I've got a plethora of resources available. I also offer a fasting academy where we talk about in depth what causes, obesity, what causes you to be overweight, and how to really deal with that specifically. We even have a course called 30 pounds in 30 days, where you lose 30 pounds in 30 days. All right. And so check that out. It's called the AHA Fasting Academy. The link for that is in the description box. If you want something more personal touch, I do offer consultations where we can really nail down specifically for you what you need to do and what your personal struggles are. And we can outline a plan as well as a dietary strategy. And you guys can find my link for consultations on my website, which is ahealthyalternative.org. Just click the consultations tab and you can schedule a consult and we can go over all of that. So I just wanted to really bring this conversation to the limelight, because I feel like there's a lot of people, I see whispers in the group of people who kind of feel like they can't lose the weight. And that's absolutely not true based on the experience that I've had. I've been doing this for about 3 years. I've been on my personal wellness journey for 4 years. I am self-taught, I'm self-learned. So keep that in mind. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but The interesting thing is I found my methodology to be 100 times more effective than traditional dietary wisdom. And of course, you could see my backlog, right? I've got many guests that come on the show that have utilized the things that I teach and talk about, and have been able to lose tons of weight. At the end of the day, the goal is always to get healthy. And so when our goal is to get healthy, weight loss is going to come, and the body is going to decide where it wants to be. We actually don't need to predetermine what our weight should be. The goal should be do the right things, create the lifestyle changes that are going to help the body be in an environment where it's happy and healthy and it can heal, and it will determine the weight that it needs to be. You don't even need to think about that. So if you guys have been enjoying my content for the past 3 years, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't. I know a lot of y'all watch and don't subscribe. Hit your notification bell. I recently started a membership for you all. So for those who are interested in getting early access to the full-length interviews that I do put out, feel free to join the membership. It's also just a way to support to keep this thing going. So if you guys want to support AHA and myself, that's just a very simple way you could do that. I'm offering live streams, exclusive live streams for YouTube members, as well as you get some cool badges and things like that that you could show off in the comment section that, show that you support, and it helps you stand out. So anyway, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos, interact, comment, and don't forget to hit that like button. And as always, the application of knowledge is power, and I'll see you all next time.